I'm so fucking ready. Holy shit, I've been waiting for this moment for so long. Okay, what's the easiest way to get to the flowchart? Just start up and click until it lets me go to the flowchart. Okay, so actually this tells us a lot here. We have 4 out of 6 endings, although I was told that the one of the 2 remaining endings it'll like check it off when I get the other ending, because one is like a fake ending that is dumb or something. That's fine. We did it. That's very bright. If I wasn't awake already, I am now. Beautiful. Okay. So here is my plan. Here's my plan. I am going to jump to here, and I'm going to go this way. Yes, I'm going to go this way. And when we hit this point, I'm gonna go this way. And then when we hit this point, I'm gonna go over here. And then when we hit this point, I hope to God that's unlocked, I can go this way. And then see whatever that ending is, and we'll go from there. But that's the plan. We're gonna go down, and we're gonna go down, and we'll have seen everything on this flowchart except for that, which is dumb because it locks you into that ending that, I don't care. So we're going here, and yeah. Did it. And we got the skip button. Yeah. I am so excited to find out more information about what the fuck's going on. It's hard for me to look at Ace the same now. Damn. And I fucking liked Ace so much. So fucking much. 4. It's just 3 scenes. It's not just 3 scenes though. Each of these scenes can be like an hour long. And the one we need to go through would be 4. That was yeah, did it. I have a feeling the dialogue is gonna be the same for quite a while. Yeah, my guess, Jack, would be that he was like laying there on the floor when Santa, I think it was Santa and Clover that were like dead on the stairs. And he was laying there. I would assume he was just pretending to be dead. And then after everyone went past him, he came up behind them. That would be my guess. Yeah. Yeah, he wanted the bracelets. And it's interesting. The first time that I got, or the first time I saw the knife ending, I honestly thought it was Clover. Glad I was wrong. But yeah. God, you know, seeing this scene play out, it feels like it was so long ago. 'Cause damn. Like, oh my God. But anyway, hi, welcome to this. But yeah, Clover went fucking nuts, which is horrifying. Okay, so we've done this before, although there's something important to note here. If I'm correct, which let me double check before I open my fucking mouth. Okay. These were locked a second ago and now they're not. But now that's locked because I didn't choose the right path there. Oh, so just simply going this way was enough to trigger that. Or yeah, okay, I got the triggers before. Does the game remember that though? Like if I miss them this time, does it still stay unlocked? Or do I have to make sure I hit them again? Ooh, I'm kind of curious to see what those triggers are. That's interesting. Can I really? Uh. What? There's 4 triggers? I know what the trigger is. I know what the trigger is. It's that fucking bookmark. It's that fucking bookmark. When Santa gives me that bookmark. I don't know how or why, but that's the trigger. It has to be. Because that has bothered me since the first stream of this game. He gave me that fucking bookmark, and it never came up again. This game has yet to do anything pointless. There's always been a point to everything. Even the room I thought was pointless ended up being important later. It's bookmark. Has to be. So I can fast forward through most of this, and I'll still... Don't you adventure me, fucker.
Picture anyway.
Funya Rimpa.
Funya Rimpa. That's how that's pronounced. Okay.
See, I mean, this totally looks like one. And here and here.
Junpei indicated parts of the picture that looked exactly like the other parts. After 3 seconds of silence, Lotus looked at Junpei.
What the hell is a Funya Rimpa?
What do you mean? What the hell is a Funya Rimpa? You mean you don't know?
How the hell would I know?
How could you not know? That's practically blasphemous. Oh, say you're sorry. Apologize to the Funya Rimpa. Goodness, you are such a rude woman.
Another 3 seconds of awkward silence went by. Lotus opened her mouth as she shook.
Junpei, are you just screwing around? Forget it. I'm just gonna tell you. This is a dog.
Junpei, what the fuck, dude?
See? Like this.
Junpei, why? Junpei, fucking why, dude? Oh my god, dude. Yeah, even like looking at it now, I still don't see the dog that well. That's true, Treble. My bad. It is clearly a Funya Rimpa. That's how silly of me to not see that. I can only barely see the dog. Oh wow, it just lets you play out the scene. Okay, so question. Since in my previous thing, I got the bookmark, and whatever the trigger here was, I got that. Does that mean I can literally skip to right here and I'll still be fine for the proper ending? Because I mean, I've done this shit, and that also means that since I've hit those triggers, I won't be given any new information. The new information will be given to me. Since this is locked, that means that this path absolutely has a white key on it. So hell yeah. Wait, it's we determined that was 3. And so which one do I want to go through? This is good. This is good that I can do this. Not seeing it as blasphemous. Wow. Okay, so then we're taking door 7. Since it says I've already taken door 8, so we're taking door 7.
I think I'm gonna go with door 7.
Okay, 7 it is.
Yeah.
All right then. That means June's got to go through 8.
What? Why?
What?
Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain.
If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it. Have 3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8.
Numbers. Hey, Tractor. Plan B.
4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8.
Plan C.
Or 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. There are no other combinations. In other words, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now?
As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up in the corner of her eyes. Okay, just had to make sure.
Oh no.
It looks like if Borderlands was a dedicated single-player RPG. Now that sounds interesting and good. And also, Jack, I apologize. I forgot to add your 2 to Undertale. So, one moment, please. Neat. I'm trying to remember if the bonus game for this year is any good. 2015. Can't remember, honestly. I don't remember at all.
You're saying we aren't gonna see each other again for a long time.
Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Probably.
Yeah.
Definitely, according to the flowchart.
Probably.
She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
I guess it depends on the ending, Treble. Because if it feels finished, it would feel really awkward to go back for me. But hey, Reaper.
If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9. In other words, the game would end right here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible.
All right, Reaper. Thanks for stopping by,
He's
dude.
not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked up at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Yes. Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment.
You guys are
Not
done,
just
right?
yawned. Wow, nice. He stretched and continued.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure I'll take 8 and Clover can take 7. Any problems with that, Clover?
Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care.
All right, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Clover 7 and Junpei walked toward door 7. Santa, Lotus, and June headed for door 8. Neat. Cool thing is we're actually gonna get a new puzzle behind here, so I get to tickle my brain a little bit, which is cool. For a long moment, they stood in front of the door. 7 took a deep breath.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
I still like 7, unless he's the murderer in the final ending, in which case that'd be really bizarre, but I like 7. He was a cop, so I doubt he'd be the killer, but
It's open.
I'm just saying, 7's cool. A narrow hallway stretched out before them. 7 and Clover leapt through the door.
Let's do this!
Hurry!
The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonators in the bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them, and the door slammed shut on his face. He's about to step over the threshold, he stopped. Now he's gonna look at June. Yep, toward door 8. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met. They nodded.
June.
Jumpy.
Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds.
What the hell are you doing, Junpei?
Wow. So it's exactly the same, except on the other door it's Lotus that grabs me and pulls me through the door. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Hey, Zach. You know, I alternate. I swear to God, I alternate. Sometimes I call you Jedi. Sometimes I call you Zach. I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with it. But hey, man, what's up? Oh, you guys are. Oh. I have a thought, and I'm gonna save it for later. Well, it's just I know like 4 Zachs, and it's confusing sometimes. It's fine if like not all of them are here at the same time. It's
Only
just,
81 seconds left.
it's like 70 seconds left
No
at this
time
point.
to waste, guys. Let's get moving.
7 led the way down the hallway. Junpei and Clover followed him as fast as they could. After what seemed like far more than 81 seconds, they reached the end of the hall.
Look, the door on the left. I can see the dead.
There was no time to rest or catch their breath. All 3 slammed their hands on it. Aww, it was nice while it lasted. Yes, everybody breathes heavily. Still trying to catch his breath, 7 leaned heavily against the wall.
It stopped. It stopped.
His smile seemed forced and a little crooked.
This is the second time we've gone through one of these numbered doors, but... Whew. You never really get used to it.
He stood up straight, no longer out of breath, and wiped some of the sweat from his head and neck. Clover smirked at him.
I would have thought a guy your size would have bigger balls than that.
Oh, fucking wow.
What? What the hell did you just say? Say it again! I dare you!
I double dare you, motherfucker.
You have no...
You little... You wanna die?
I'd like to see you try.
You fucking brat. Alright, let's go!
Hey, calm down, guys. This isn't the time for this. It's not gonna do us any good.
Junpei sighed. Sometimes he wondered if the doors and the puzzles were really the greatest challenge they faced.
Wait here for a minute, alright? I'm gonna go see if there are any other doors.
They didn't respond, but Junpei wasn't in the mood for a conversation anyway. Wow.
We just came through this door. And of course it's shut tight.
There's a short hallway on the left here. And an iron wall. I doubt I can get through it.
At last he gave up and returned to 7, who was tapping lightly on the wooden door.
This door's the only option we've got, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like it.
Hey, something's written on the door.
Din Din, you better fucking do it, dude. You better do it. You gotta bless them reins, man.
On that iron plate.
It says operating room.
Ooh.
This thing's telling the truth. There could be body parts inside here.
Mmm, yummy.
This is probably not going to be pleasant.
Something about it made Junpei feel nervous.
Well, there's no point to standing around. Might as well go in and see what's waiting for us.
7 grabbed the brass knob and slowly opened the door. The creak of the hinge sounded like the groan of an old woman.
What's wrong?
No, it's nothing.
A chill snaked its way down Junpei's spine.
Let's just go.
Quickly, he gathered what courage he could and took the first step into the room. 7 followed, with Clover right behind him.
Huh?
Part of the room just past the door was obscured by a screen.
What the hell is this?
Personally, I'd call that a curtain, but whatever.
Why don't we take a look?
Hey, Clover.
Clover's curiosity got the better of her, and she darted past Junpei to peer around the screen. Her scream nearly blew out Junpei's eardrums.
Clover!
He and 7 ran toward Clover to see what had frightened
Hey,
her.
what's wrong?
They rounded the screen, and the cause of her outburst was immediately clear.
What the hell is this?
Is this a corpse?
It was something that looked kind of like a human, lying across some sort of bed, but, well, no, not a bed, an operating table. The table sat on a rusty steel lift, and a cluster of bright operating lights shone down on it from the ceiling.
We should probably take a closer look.
Yeah, we probably should. Vacations are important, Din Din. Okay. Alright, guys, you ready to play Operation? This should be a good time. Here we go. As they got closer to the body, it became clear that it wasn't a body at all.
What the hell? That's just a huge doll or something.
Doll?
Clover did not look terribly comforted. Slowly, she approached the operating table and looked as intently as possible, from as far away as possible, at the thing. I could go for some food myself. Junpei could see her relax.
You're right. It's only a doll.
Yeah.
Man, it really scared me.
She heaved a great sigh of relief and wiped a few drops of sweat from her forehead. Seven smirked.
Well, I guess it would have been weird if you actually had any balls.
Shut it! Don't you start with me, fatty.
Oh!
Oh, what's this? You want a piece of me, short stuff?
Yeah, bring it on, you whale!
Hey, guys, not again, okay? Seriously, knock it off.
Man, they just hate each other's guts.
Jeez. Anyway, it looks like he's got something the two of you could stand to have a little more of. I'm talking about a heart.
Oh, now Junpei's throwing shade.
Oh, this? You mean on his chest?
Jack, that's not even fair, dude.
Yeah.
Want. It was set a little higher than normal for a human body, but from the shape of the organ, there could be no doubt that it was a heart.
Why
When in
would there
fact it
be
was a butt.
heart in a doll?
I don't think it's a doll.
You think maybe it's like a medical mannequin or something?
Sure.
Or maybe it's got more personal uses?
Seven's grin was more than a little perverted. Clover glared at him.
Anyway, how about we take a look around this place?
Anyway.
Okay.
Sure thing.
Wow, Seven. Way to fucking go, dude. New music. Alright, there's something I need to check first. Well, I can't actually see it yet, but that means I didn't miss anything here, which is good, which is very good. I would think there's probably something here, given that that escape had a key and that escape had a key, and now we're in another escape. It just seems like there'd be a key here, so I should probably be mindful of that. That looks different. Anything about it? A scalpel that's not rusty. Seems like it was put here for a reason, huh? Think it's telling us to cut something? Yeah. Probably the heart. Medical mannequin with its guts showing. Ew, gross. Hey, Junpei, there's a slit in this thing's chest. Yep, sure is. There's something in there. Maybe we can get it out. Stinking thing won't budge. It's stuck. Well, I guess you can't use force on this one then. We need something small that can fit into that hole. Hey, Seven. I don't think a scalpel's what it wants. These dolls are really creepy, you know. Hey, it says something here. John. Think that's his doll's name? Maybe? This thing's creepy. Yeah, I wonder why it's on the bed too. But I want to look at it. Apparently his name is John. Can I go in? An operating table. Do you think old operating tables look like this? Fuck if I know. I just want to walk up to it. Hey, I wonder what this thing is. It says kg on the display. Okay, so it's weight. You think maybe it's a scale? Yeah, I do. Can I go investigate things without you two just... No? Alright, I guess I won't. A white cloth. That's cute. What we got over here? This looks different. Oh. They use these for surgery, right? Let's see. Syringes, cups, a plate. Sort of a scissor-ish thingy. You mean that? Hey, look. Forceps. Neat. I'll probably use that on that mannequin. Are those scissors? They look kind of funny. Nah, it's forceps. It's surgeons use it during operations. They can hold blood vessels shut and keep tissue out of the way. We can use it to pull stuff out of small holes or something like that. Yeah, I already figured that out, asshole. Can I take that? Nope. Okay. Oh my god, I swear to god, every time I play this game, Humble Bundle gets a new bundle that I could not possibly care less about. Maybe it's a heater? There's nothing inside it. Ew. Ew. That's gross. This is the chest. It's a woman's chest. The heart's gone, but it's pretty hot. If that kind of thing turns you on, Seven, you're a real creepo. It's books. There are a whole bunch of bottles on the shelves. They all look like medicine. They've got labels, but they're all big medical words I don't understand. Okay. Anyway. Fake organ. Let's try cutting this organ with a scalpel. Aha! That's a key that I haven't even... Okay, there's a key in this organ. Found a key in an internal organ. It's really gross. Books on what? Fuck if I know. I think it said machine learning. I think. Preparation room. Cool, it's unlocked. Oh, it was locked before. Oh, neat. Well, that's convenient. I think you hang your coat here. There's a bunch of hooks. Piece of paper. Is it some kind of medical record? Is it for John? Medical record. Oh, it is. Nice. Medical record found in the preparation room. Has records for the two mannequins. The male mannequin named John and a female one named Lucy. The record shows each mannequin's total weight and the weight of their individual parts. Okay. Interesting. It's a light. I found a beaker. That's not a normal light. The white light on top is glowing. Yeah, but red, blue, and purple ones still aren't lit. Red, blue, and purple ones are still dark. Put the fake chest inside the beaker. It's hitting the thing on the right. That's an interesting puzzle, but I don't think I have what I need for it yet. It won't open. Looks like it's locked. There's a red plate. You think that means something? Yeah, but I'm checking the others anyway. Okay. So each one lighting up will unlock each one in turn. Interesting. A sink. Doctors and nurses probably washed their hands here before an operation. Nothing suspicious here. I'll be the judge of that, Seven. Oh, it's a Jupiter symbol. Wasn't this Jupiter symbol engraved by the keyhole in the other door? Other door? The door at the end of the hallway with all those rooms. Yeah, I would assume they used the same key. And that's the key that we find in this place, right? A light switch doesn't seem to be working. Of course it doesn't. And yeah, it's locked. I had to make sure though. Do you think this is the exit? Yes, I do. Clover, please keep up. Chemical room. It's locked. Oh, nice. It opens both. There's a note on top of the table. Iron 1, salt 2, water 3. Carbon dioxide question mark, ammonia question mark, ethanol question mark. I think this is a hint for. Maybe it's got something to do with this box? Okay. Iron 1, because it's just Fe. Or is that, I think. Salt, NaCl, which would be 2 components. Water, H2O, which would be 3 components. Carbon dioxide, CO2, which would be 3 components. So carbon dioxide would be 3. Ammonia and ethanol, I have no idea what the composition of those are. Blue liquid. Looks like there's something inside that bottle. Pour some out into the cap. Can't see a reason why not. It's bright blue. Do you think it's alien blood? The hell did that come from? What do you think it is, Seven? I don't know, some sort of special bath soap? What a boring guess. I imagine this will help us with the light puzzle in the other room. Red liquid. Yeah. Interesting. Think there are any slugs on this ship? Slugs? Well, if there are, I was thinking we could put salt on them. Okay, the label states NaCl. Salt, huh? You think Seven will shrivel up when we put it on him? Hey, you say something? Wow. Jimmy, there's a bottle of iron powder on the shelf. How do you know it's iron? Because it says Fe. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Something stinks. Is it coming from this bottle? It says NH3, so that would be 4. So ammonia would be 4. Yeah. Good stuff. Let's go for a drink. What are you talking about? I'm talking about that bottle. It says C2H5OH. So that's 7, 8, 9. That's 9. And since it ends in hydrogen, oh man. Okay. So yeah, 9. Also known as ethyl alcohol. It's pretty much what booze is made of. So you're gonna drink it? Nah, I won't. I might say that that's what's on the label, but there could be anything in there. Okay, so yeah, 349 is probably the code then. Yeah. I know how to punch numbers. Chemistry, bitches! I need to call my chemistry professor and be like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that shit that I thought was gonna be useless actually helped me with something in my life. Now, if only I was, well, I mean, technically I'm getting paid for this later. So, yeah. Fake heart. Fake right arm. Hey, let's go find Snake. We can make him match. That was mean. There's a bottle of water on the shelf. It says H2O. Jack, shut up. Let me have this. There's a canister of carbon dioxide on the shelf. Yeah, okay.
You think we should go back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably best.
Clover nodded and left. Junpei was about to follow her when he realized that Seven wasn't following suit.
Hey, Seven, what's up?
Oh, well,
He looked up at Junpei distractedly and then back down at the brown bottle he held cupped in his large hands.
Is that a medicine bottle?
I got curious about it. Here.
In response, Seven tossed the bottle gently to Junpei. He caught it and twisted it around to read the label.
Ethylene diamine tartrate?
Yeah, that's right. CDT.
What kind of medicine is that?
It's not medicine. I think it's an industrial strength detergent.
Why would they have something like that here?
Well, probably to clean stuff up.
It's fair.
Clean what up?
Fuck if I know. Still, it looks like it's cleaned my brain up.
What? Junpei looked up from the bottle.
You remember something?
Yeah.
Seven nodded slowly and spoke.
Well, I remember a story about EDT. Happened about 50 years ago. There was this factory somewhere in America making big old EDT crystals. They were making it to sell as an industrial strength cleaner, like I told you before. But a year after the factory started up, something strange started happening with the crystals they were building. Water molecules started attaching themselves to the EDT crystals. This made them into a sort of mutation of the original crystals, called a hydrate. Once the crystals turn into a hydrate, though, it's useless as a cleaner. The factory had to just dump the crystals. As a hydrate, they were useless. But it didn't end there. After that day, the same thing started happening in EDT factories everywhere, even ones nowhere near that first American factory.
This. Okay. Deja vu. For obvious reasons.
They'd been making crystals the same way, the same materials and the same equipment and environment. But now, all of a sudden, every single crystal they formed turned into a hydrate. In fact, ever since that day, no factory anywhere has been able to make a pure EDT crystal. Even in EDT research done years before, they'd never gotten a hydrate. But after it happened at the first factory, it just spread. It was like, how do you say it?
Like the molecules were communicating with one another.
Hey, hologram. A fire truck. Is it spraying something or is it just chilling?
Transmitting information in a way humans couldn't perceive. This phenomena spread throughout the world, right?
Junpei looked up at Seven with half a smirk. Seven stared at him, dumbfounded.
Yeah, that's it exactly. But how did you know?
I heard another story, kind of like that one.
When?
In the freezer.
Oh, that's when it was. Ooh, was that the story trigger in the kitchen?
What? The freezer?
Yeah, June told me.
Junpei told Seven the story he'd heard from June in the freezer in the kitchen. How one day glycerin began to crystallize. And the story of ice that wouldn't melt at room temperature. Yeah. When Junpei was done, Seven looked thoughtful and absent-mindedly rubbed the scar on his chin.
Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature, huh?
That sounds familiar?
Yeah, hold up. I feel like I can remember something. It's right there.
Seven squinted. His eyes stared off into space as if he were trying desperately to focus on something far away.
Do you?
I think he's trying to remember something about Ice 9. So...
Do you know about Ice 9?
Ice 9? Ice 9. Ice 9. Ice.
Suddenly, Seven's eyes shot open.
That's it. I remember now. That woman, she's on this boat.
That woman?
What?
Alice!
Wait a minute. That was in the captain's room. The book with the hieroglyphs had Alice on it, I think?
Who's Alice?
Come on. The woman who won't melt at room temperature.
Huh?
It became clear to Seven that Junpei had no idea what he was talking about. He ran his hand across his face, took a deep breath.
You know how the Titanic sank on April 15th, 1912, right?
Yeah, had really cool music playing in the background during it.
Yeah, more than 1,500 people died. Worst maritime accident in history. What about it?
Did you hear about the boat that was sent to collect the dead bodies?
I think that was the RMS Carpathia, right? It was a cruise liner, just like the Titanic.
No, that was the ship that picked up the survivors. The ship that collected the dead bodies was the CS McKay Bennett. The McKay Bennett showed up on April 17th, 2 days after the accident. It set out from Halifax, a port in Canada, and recovered 306 bodies. The Atlantic that far north was really cold. It would have to be for there to be icebergs and stuff. Anyway, the bodies they pulled out of the water were frozen solid.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
This isn't a very nice story. So, what happened next?
Well, they say the McKay Bennett recovered something more than just dead bodies. There were various bits of stuff floating around in the water. Things the drowned had carried with them, or stuff that dislodged as the ship sank. One of the things they found was a coffin.
A coffin?
Yeah, a wooden one. The craftsman who made it must have been pretty skilled. It wasn't just a wooden coffin. It was all wood, no nails, no reinforcements, no gaps in the wood anywhere. The thing was airtight.
Even in water?
The crew got pretty curious about what might be inside it and opened it up. They had to get a wedge and hammer it open, and they saw what made. Inside, they found a woman. Or, I guess you should say, they found the dead body of a woman. Her hair was thick and black, and her skin rich brown with no blemishes or signs of decomposition. They say that she looked gorgeous, like a goddess. She was obviously dead, but everyone who looked at her said she just looked like she was sleeping. Her skin was so lifelike, she looked like she might wake up any minute. And she didn't. Like the rest of the bodies they found, she was frozen solid. Eventually, the McKay Bennett finished searching and returned to Halifax. The 306 bodies were unloaded and taken ashore. However, it was warm enough that they began to thaw. They say that the stink was horrible. But there was one body that didn't thaw, and that was...
The girl in the coffin.
That's right. Everybody thought for sure that she'd melt and start to rot like the rest of them eventually. But weeks passed and nothing happened. And a month passed, and another. And it was summer, and she was still frozen solid. After a while, people started to say she was some sort of miracle. Rumors about her started to spread. People came to visit Halifax from all over. After a while, people started to call her All Ice. Alice. Of course, those rumors didn't last long.
Why?
Well, she up and disappeared. One day Alice was there, the next day she wasn't. They say someone snuck into where they were keeping her and stole the body. With the body gone, the rumors followed pretty quickly. After a while, no one remembered her. You might be able to find something about her if you can find a newspaper from back then, but that's about it.
Wait, you just said that she was on this boat.
Yeah, I did. Alice has got to be somewhere on this ship.
Now why the hell would you say something like that?
Because I know.
And just what is it you know?
What happened to Alice after she was stolen?
Junpei gulped.
Alright, tell me. What happened to Alice?
Seven nodded, slowly, and took on the look of a man recalling something long buried.
Well, around that time, the word was that there was a special black market in New York. All millionaires from all over the world. I've heard that Alice went up for auction there. The person who won the auction was Lord Dashiell Gordain.
Oh.
You've heard that name before, right?
Lord Gordain.
Guy who apparently bought the other ship that ran aground that was the Titanic's sister ship.
Oh, isn't he the guy who bought the Gigantic? The Titanic's sister ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Although I guess he hadn't done that yet.
What do you mean?
Gordain bought Alice in 1912. And 4 years later, in 1916, he bought the Gigantic. And he hid Alice somewhere on the Gigantic. But nobody knows where. He died in 1931. And apparently, he died without ever telling anyone where Alice was hidden. However,
What?
Well, he did have one close friend who asked him, "Where is Alice?" And he said, "Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic."
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic. The Forest of Knowledge would indicate probably a library. But I don't think we've ever come across a library.
What the hell is that? Is it some kind of riddle?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Seven threw his hands up in defeat.
So that's it. Whatever you think, I believe it. She's hidden somewhere on the Gigantic. In other words, she's hidden somewhere on this ship.
This smells like a story trigger. Before Junpei could dispute Seven's rather bizarre claim, as Junpei was trying to figure out what on earth he was going to say next, Clover's shrill voice pierced the room.
Hey, what are you two doing over there? Stop wasting time and get over here.
Okay, we're coming.
Jeez.
Seven looked at Junpei.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the story. It might be useful someday. Don't forget it.
With that cryptic remark, he turned and left the room.
Alice. Huh.
Junpei was left behind to ponder what he'd just heard. He tried to remember what June told him earlier.
That mummy wasn't just a normal mummy. They say that she was frozen. The story says that from the time of its discovery all the way through to when it got put on the Titanic, even though it was carried through the desert, her body never melted.
Then was that Egyptian priestess Alice? Did the water in her body become Ice 9? No, that's nuts. There's no way somebody like that could exist.
Junpei shook his head, trying desperately to clear it, and followed Seven to the operating room where Clover was waiting. You now remember that you were in fact working on puzzles. Hey, the blue light turned on, and I heard a noise. It sounded like something unlocking. So apparently it doesn't go back to being locked after, Red light's on now. I think I heard another noise. That's good. Now let's make purple. I get it. You can buy the red and the blue to make purple. Yeah! It wasn't that hard to figure out, actually. Yeah, let's see what's in the other two. Even though you wouldn't be able to separate those back into their respective bottles. Oh no, because it's not anymore. Okay, that's cool. What the fuck? All that for wait. What the hell are you doing? Don't you want to get out of here? But I'm tired. Wow, Clover. Glad you got your priorities straight. John's just lying there. Huh? There's some sort of lid on this thing. Open it. I can't. There's no handle. I can't get under it with my nails either. Yeah. John's just lying there. That's something that looks like a lid. Okay, but I want to go to, can I, there's a thing I'm sure I have to do here. Oh! Oh. Okay, so we collected the 6 parts of the medical mannequin. Yeah. Oh, you mean Lucy? That's her name, I think. See, it says Lucy right here. Yeah. Well, it doesn't look like John's missing any of his parts, so the ones we've got must be for Lucy, right? Yeah, okay. Well, I'll say we give her parts back. Any objections? Nope. Let's do it. Neat. Oh, there's a number on here. 51 kilograms. What's this? This is the weight? Well, we were just stacking body parts on it, so it makes sense that'd be the weight. Hey, nothing happened. That's odd. Maybe it's the wrong weight? Yeah, well, you know how there's a scale on the side of the bed? Maybe we need to get the scale to a specific number. I think we're supposed to swap her body parts with John's. Yeah. The screen will display 2 medical mannequins. You can switch their body parts by selecting the part you want to switch out. Oh my god. What weight? Oh, come on, just let me see it. I think if we knew the weight of each part, we could figure it out. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, we got math. Let me get a fucking notebook, write this shit down. Math. Everybody do math. Math, good. Let's do it. Where the fuck's my pen? I had a pen. I have like 20 pens around here. Can I just pen? Wait. Okay. John is supposed to be 51.3, and Lucy is supposed to be 53. I put 13, 53.2. That's because they're exactly the same, except Lucy has fantastic breasts that weigh approximately 2 kilograms more than John does. Okay. Oh yeah, I guess I should see what the parts are. Okay. So interestingly enough, so this isn't showing me what their weights are, it's showing me what their weights need to be, because all of John's parts are heavier, yet Lucy's number is higher. Okay, so... Really? Yes, I'm doing math. Deal with it. I have no regrets. All right. Now, so John weighs too much, Lucy doesn't weigh enough. Interestingly enough, can I just take the parts or just clicking them? Okay, so clicking the parts just swaps them straight across. Well, that's interesting. That would make it very easy to brute force it, actually, which I guess explains what Zach was meaning there. Okay, well, I did all this writing down and math and stuff, and it turns out you can just brute force the piss out of it. All right, cool. But you could just swap the hearts out. That's really bizarre that you could just do that. Man, that's fucking weird. Alright, well anyway. I'm off by 0.1. Damn it. Like, really? Really? That's it? Who needs math? You can just click buttons. Look at the scale. The lid on the scale. Gasp! It opened. I get it. It must have opened because we matched the weight to the thing. Oh my god. GG easy, right? Fucking really though? That's it?
Hey, hold on.
Junpei stopped, about to put the key in the doorknob.
Oh, what's up?
Where's Clover?
Huh?
And here she comes with an axe again. Junpei turned around. Clover was nowhere to be seen.
Oh, God damn it. Where the hell did she go? Okay, just hold on a minute. I'll go get her.
Sure thing.
Junpei left Seven at the door and headed back to the operating room. He found her standing next to the operating table. She was staring at the mannequin.
Hey, Clover, what's wrong? Come on, let's get out of here.
She didn't respond. If she hadn't been standing up and breathing, Junpei might have thought she was dead.
What are you doing? Did you want to come back here and say goodbye to John?
It wasn't the best joke, but it was something. An attempt to lighten the mood. Clover didn't laugh. She stood stock still and said nothing.
Hey, Clover, can you hear me?
Perhaps it was something he'd said, or perhaps it was something else. Suddenly her mouth opened and she whispered in a dry, dead voice.
My brother might be dead.
Huh?
That's why we couldn't find him. If he's dead, I'm going to be next.
Suddenly the operating room felt very, very cold.
What are you talking about? What's wrong with you?
He gave her a small shake, but she didn't respond. The silence grew heavier. Junpei, what do you want to do? There's no reason not to. And I know that's significant in a way before, so...
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know why, but suddenly Junpei remembered something he'd been given earlier.
It's in my pocket somewhere. Here it is.
He reached into his pocket and dug it out.
A 4-leaf clover.
Santa had given it to him in the second class room. He held it out to Clover.
Hey, did you know? Each leaf means something. Hope, faith, love, and luck. That's what a 4-leaf clover stands for. Take it. Use it as a good luck charm.
He pressed the four-leaf clover into her hand.
Listen to me, Clover. No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck. Snake, I mean, your brother, he's not dead. He's alive, somewhere. I'm sure of it. You've just gotta believe in that.
Clover stared at the four-leaf clover in her hand. He could see tears start to form at the corners of her eyes.
Thank you.
Her voice was tiny and broken, and as she spoke, she started to cry. She tried to hide her tears by looking at the floor, but it did little good. She wiped away the tears with the baggy arms of her jacket, but more quickly took their place. No matter how she tried, she couldn't stop crying. Her tears made small, wet circles on the floor.
Thank you.
She said it again. Then she looked up at Junpei and seemed to choke down the last of her grief. She did her best to smile. Junpei wiped an errant tear from her cheek with his thumb and gave her the best smile he could manage.
Come on. Seven's waiting for us at the exit.
This act of kindness will keep Junpei from getting murdered by an axe. Or something. But still, she didn't move.
Before we go, there's one thing I want to ask you.
What's that?
What do you think when you hear the word experiment?
For a moment, his mind froze. Then he came back to his senses and realized the word meant nothing to him aside from the dictionary definition.
What?
Oh. I guess it was just a coincidence then. I mean, that you knew about the four-leaf clover.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a jerk, but you are making less than no sense right now.
Oh, no. It's nothing. Just forget about it.
Ooh.
Oh, don't give me that. You really think I could just drop this? What is this experiment you were talking about?
Clover looked away. The four-leaf clover was still in her hand. She stared at it for a long moment, and then finally spoke.
You promise you won't tell anyone?
Cross my heart.
Really?
Really?
I mean, if I'm lying, you can hit me with an axe.
I can trust you, right?
Absolutely.
Of course you can.
Clover slipped the four-leaf clover into her pocket. Her eyes still red from crying, she looked up at Junpei.
Okay then, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened on this ship 9 years ago.
Wait. On this ship?
Yeah, this ship.
He was entirely lost. He had 1,000 questions, but it was probably best, he thought, to save them until she had finished.
It was an experiment to test some sort of psychic thing. Communicating through these fields that you can't see.
Fields that you can't see?
He'd heard something like this before. Clover nodded.
Like, think about this.
She pointed at the operating table. On top of it was a somewhat mismatched medical mannequin whose parts had been swapped with another mannequin.
This is John, right? But is he really John?
Huh?
All Junpei could think was, she has finally completely lost it.
Isn't this like Locke's socks?
You what?
Or the ship of Theseus?
Junpei grew even more confused. He'd never heard of either of those things, although they sounded smart.
You don't know? You haven't heard of those paradoxes?
No?
Junpei shook his head.
Really?
Clover laughed.
Okay, well pay attention then. This is how Locke's socks works. Let's say I've got a pair of socks. They're my favorite socks. One of them gets a hole in it. What would you do if that was your sock, Junpei?
It was my favorite pair of socks. I'd probably patch it up.
Well, I guess I'd patch it up. get some cloth and close up the hole.
But what if another hole opens?
I'd add another patch, I suppose.
What if another hole opened after that?
Another patch, I guess?
Well, let's say you just keep adding new patches until eventually the original cloth of the sock is totally gone. Once you get to that point, can you really say they're the same socks you started with?
Well, that's tough.
Junpei crossed his arms.
So, that's the locked socks thing?
Yeah, the ship of Theseus is a lot like it. The ship of Theseus. If you keep fixing the damaged parts of a ship, eventually it ends up with none of the parts it started with. Can you really say that ship is the same one you started with? And what if you took all the old parts from the first ship and built another one somewhere else? Then which ship is the real ship of Theseus? The one you repaired, or the one you built with all the original parts?
It was an interesting question. Clover could see Junpei was intrigued.
Hey, do you think it's the same?
What's the same?
These guys. Is this John, or is it Lucy now?
Junpei looked at the operating table again. A mannequin full of body parts from a different body. Clover had been right. It was just like locked socks in the ship of Theseus. The part of the body that holds a person's identity is the head. Of course, for many hundreds of years, conventional wisdom had held that a man's identity resided in his heart, or any number of internal organs. And here they had both.
John's head and heart are both his.
Wow, the puzzle actually...
But apart from those, and a single arm, the rest of his body was once Lucy's.
Was that mannequin really John?
We're just like these mannequins.
She looked at Junpei again.
Think about it. The cells in our body change every day. Old ones die and new ones are born. Maybe part of my arm is made of stuff from a fish I ate once. Or maybe part of your right side is made from a cow you ate. If you take it a little further, those cows and fishes are made from something else too, right? That's how we're all connected. Through fields that can't be seen with the naked eye.
The silence was broken by Seven.
Hey, what the hell is taking you two so long?
Seven's head appeared in the doorway. He was not happy.
How long are you gonna make me wait? We don't have time to screw around.
Junpei and Clover looked at each other. Clover looked at Junpei as if to say there was more she wanted to tell him. She shook her head. Whatever she had to tell him, she didn't want to tell him in front of Seven. Seven seemed to catch on.
Oh? What were you two doing? Was this some sort of secret meeting?
No, it wasn't. We were just
Just...
playing with the mannequins.
Huh?
Let's go, Junpei.
Moving a little bit too fast to be entirely innocent, Clover headed toward the exit. Seven stared after her, then turned to Junpei with an amused expression.
Playing with mannequins, huh? Didn't know you were into that kind of thing, Junpei.
Shut up, Seven.
You're a dick.
Junpei dashed past him and traced Clover's path out of the door. With a short laugh, Seven followed. They stood in front of the door. Junpei took out the Jupiter key.
All right, I'm gonna open it now.
You don't need to keep asking, just do it, alright?
Fine then.
He slid the key into the keyhole and turned it. He felt it unlock. The door opened with a soft, melancholy creak. Beyond it lay a simple white hallway. There was no fanfare or confetti or any shit like that. Obviously, there was no one to applaud them. They simply walked through the door. That was it.
All right, let's get going.
Hey man, what's up with you? You're so serious, you know? Can't you sound more happy, you know, get a little excited?
Not really.
Junpei turned away from Seven and took his first step down the simple white hallway.
My brother might be dead. I'm going to be next.
Clover had told him only a few minutes before that her brother was probably dead, and she was likely to follow him.
Like hell I can. Not after hearing something like that.
Okay. They left the operating room. The hallway took them around several corners and past several doors, but they were all locked.
There too, huh? Every door in this place is locked up tight.
How about that one?
The final door was hidden in a corner of the hall.
May as well give it a try.
Junpei grabbed the handle. As he made to push it open, a voice stopped him. The voice came from behind him and belonged to neither Seven nor Clover, and now the paths are catching up to each other again.
Jumpy!
Huh?
He spun around. He saw someone running toward him from the other end of the hallway. There were 3 people coming toward Junpei and his companions.
June? And Santa? And Lotus too?
They pulled up short in front of Junpei, breathing hard.
Whoa! What the hell is this?
What are you doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys, could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd
Look on
found.
the wall here.
Oh, it's a map.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7. And... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
Is it a complete connection? Let me see. No. In fact...
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. That's how the nonary game works.
I see.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. Hey, could this lead to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh,
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
yeah.
They-
almost forgot. We should keep this.
Yeah, keep the map. And now they're gonna be back in the hospital room. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
Slowly, all 5 nodded their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. And they were all back here. They poured through the doorway and into the room, even without looking around. Seriously?
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be. Back in the hospital room. Through the door that didn't have a number. We know.
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying.
Fuck you, Ace.
The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory, and then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
Oh, now it's the same. Okay. Which actually gives me a chance to look at the flowchart. Okay. So there were 2 story triggers in that place. I would assume then that... talking about Alice and Ice 9 and then the entire conversation with Clover. Okay. So... as such, does that mean I could skip to right here and then pick that path? So I can like skip this dialogue I've already seen? Is that a thing I can do? I'd like to make sure. I don't want to... I know, right, Zach? Like, oh, God. Yeah, I've gotten sub, knife, axe, and safe. Actually, can I just skip right here? I can skip to the escape room. Are you sure I can skip to there and I don't actually have to go to here? Because I want to make sure. You know, Jack, I trust you. I'd even go so far as to say I trust you with my life. But I'm gonna go to the novel to be safe. Now I can't help but wonder what the story trigger here is. Because I don't remember anything significant happening. Oh shit, hang on. You're gonna get Windows sounds. My phone's at 2%. I need to plug it in. Hopefully it's not something super obscure or anything. I keep worrying I'm gonna miss something. Professionalism! We have loads of it here. Okay. I gotta remember how this shit works. Pocket watch. Can I just be like, hey, I fixed the watch? Because that's how we get out. Is this significant? I tried to warn you, hologram. I tried. I said Windows sound coming because I need to plug my phone in. I'd also like to point out that my computer charges my phone disgustingly slow. If it is dead and I plug it into my wall outlet, it'll say, hey, this takes about an hour and 50 minutes to fully charge. My phone at 2% plugged into my computer will take 6.5 hours to charge to full. So, I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah, there is.
Ace's eyebrows went up.
You checked on us. Now get out of here. We split this stuff up for a reason, all right?
Well, that was a little harsh.
Why? We didn't have to split up the work. I just want to talk to Clover alone.
Oh.
That's why I sent Ace to the wheelhouse.
Oh.
There's something I want to ask her.
Oh.
And I don't want anyone to overhear us.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure Clover won't talk if there's anyone else around. That's why when Ace showed up again, I got a little desperate. I had to make him leave.
Except you got mad at him even though I hadn't done that stuff before, so... Okay. Ace opened his mouth and took another look at Junpei and shut it again. A small smirk appeared on his face.
Oh, I see. Of course.
He looked Junpei over, then glanced at Clover.
I apologize for the intrusion.
You should.
Well, best of luck.
Ace gave Junpei a knowing pat on the shoulder and left. Junpei let out a sigh and brushed a few drops of sweat from his forehead. He turned and found himself looking straight into Clover's eyes. She'd heard what Ace had said. She regarded Junpei with caution.
What was that about?
She was clearly suspicious, and with good reason.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Junpei's eyes widened and he held up his hands in a gesture of innocence.
Oh, no, it's not like that.
What's it like then?
I just wanted to hear the rest of that story. I didn't get a chance to ask you about it until now.
What story?
About the experiment, remember? The one you started to tell me in the operating room? You said something about an experiment that happened here 9 years ago.
Clover bit her lip. She stared down at the floor for several long moments, and when she spoke, it was barely audible.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm just not in the mood, okay?
You understand, right? I keep thinking about my brother. I can't stop. I mean, who would do something like that to my brother? I can't forgive them. I'm not gonna let them get away with it. They're gonna pay for it. I promise. So...
Her shoulders were shaking. Drops of blood had sprung up on her lips where she was biting them. She wiped it off and looked up at Junpei, her eyes fierce and angry.
Junpei, who do you think did it?
Her voice was cold and scarcely above a whisper. Junpei gulped.
Well, if what Seven said was right, then there would have to be at least 2 of them. You need at least 3 people to open the numbered doors, and if you subtract Snake, that means there were at least 2 other people.
You're right. So, what does that mean?
Well, if we just look at the bracelet numbers, we should be able to figure it out. Who could have opened door 3 with Snake? Well, really, who and who, or who and who?
You mean it could have been 4 people?
Sure.
Well, technically, it's possible.
I don't know. That doesn't seem very likely.
Why?
I'll tell you later. Why don't we just assume it was only 2 other people for now?
Okay, got it. Let's do that then.
Then who do you think it could be?
Junpei crossed his arms and thought. Snake's bracelet number was 2. Which 2 bracelet numbers added to 2 would give a digital root of 3? Which 2 bracelet numbers added to 2 would give a digital root of 3? It's none of these! I know who did it! I got that ending! I know who pushed not Snake through the door! It was none of these! No, that's not fair! I know who it was! It is none of these answers. Man. I don't want to point fingers. There's too many options for this to be like a legit story check, so it's Ace and Lotus. Asshole and bitch. Perfect.
Would it be Ace and Lotus? The digital root for Snake.
Oh, it's a math question.
3.
It's a math question. I wasn't even paying attention to that. Okay, so we know that it was oh man, really though? Because it was Ace and 9 that did it, but so I literally can't pick. Wow, I literally can't pick Ace as the bad guy here because they haven't assumed for the bracelet with the 9. Wow. 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 Okay. So I need something to get to 10. So let's see. June was 6. Santa's 3. 3 and 7. So Santa and 7. That's not right, but
It'd be Santa and 7. The digital root for Snake, Santa, and 7 is 3. Wait, hold on. Are Santa and 7 the killers?
What's wrong?
same, Zach. I mean, if I saw the bracelet, I'd be like, this could be fucking useful. There's no point in hiding it.
I thought about it, and
He told her his conclusions.
That's what I thought.
She looked less surprised than he'd expected.
Santa and 7. If it was 2 people, then that's the only combination that works.
hey, wait a minute there. Don't you think it's a little too early to be jumping to conclusions? Well, all I said is that those 2 would have been able to open door 3 with your brother. There might be other possibilities.
Well, what other possibilities?
He didn't have an answer. He was ready to admit defeat when Clover spoke.
Are you saying you think that it was 3 or 4 people? I really don't think that's likely.
Why not?
can I borrow your pen and paper?
Sure.
Yeah, here.
Junpei pulled out his pen and pad of paper and handed them to her. She opened the notebook and wrote down several simple addition problems. Eventually, she had 8, which provided a digital root of 3. That's a lot of math.
What's this?
These are the combinations for 3 or 4 people. These 8 combinations are the only possible ones.
Oh, I see.
Junpei,
Yeah?
I can trust you, right?
Yeah.
Of course. Why would you need to ask that?
Really?
Yeah.
So then I should get rid of B, D, G, and H, right?
Because I'm in those.
Of course. Just cross them out. And you should take off yours too. The ones with 4.
So, what does that leave?
A and E.
Ace, Santa, and June. Ace, Santa, 7, and Lotus. Interesting.
Wait, it can't be A.
Why?
Because June's in that one. There's no way in hell she'd do something like that.
Are you sure?
I'd bet my life on it.
Okay then. I can cross off A too, right?
Wow. Okay. I think she really does trust me.
Well, what have we got left?
E.
Do you know what this means?
Everyone besides me, you, and June would be working together.
Do you think that's likely?
No.
If there were 4 people working together, they wouldn't be very cautious. I don't think they'd try that hard to hide what they were doing if they outnumbered us, right?
That's a fair point.
Well, you do have a point.
And besides, if Ace and 7 are working together, they could have easily gotten rid of me when I went to the shower room with them. But they didn't. They didn't even try anything. If they were killers, why wouldn't they?
Her voice was calm, but Junpei had only to look her in the eye to know it was a forced calm. There were tears forming at the corners of her eyes, and she was blinking furiously to keep them back. Perhaps by attempting an objective analysis of who might have killed her brother, she had been able to distance herself from the harsh reality of his death. The more she struggled to act unconcerned, the more Junpei felt his heart tighten.
Oh, I see. Anyway, I understand now. It seems pretty unlikely that it was as many as 3 or 4 people.
Yeah,
And that means there's a good chance it was Santa and 7.
that's how it looks.
But why would they do it?
There was a moment of silence.
Motive.
He laid his hand gently on her shoulder. He was close, so close to the answer. When Ace chose the worst possible moment to return. He raised a knowing eyebrow and then spoke.
Have I interrupted something?
What is it?
There was something I wanted to speak with you about, Junpei. Could you come with me for a moment?
He turned on his heel and walked back toward the wheelhouse.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Junpei looked over at Clover. He gave her a short nod, hoped that she would be willing to talk to him again later, and followed Ace.
What did you want to talk about?
Ace looked at Junpei and smiled, perhaps more of a smirk than a smile.
There was something I wanted to check.
Yeah? What's that?
If you'll excuse me.
With no warning, Ace slipped his hand into the pocket of Junpei's vest.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
I'm just checking.
No, stop!
He reached for Ace's arm, but it was already too late. In the older man's hand were the pieces of paper Junpei had balled up and hidden in his pocket.
Just as I thought.
Damn.
What exactly are these pieces of paper hiding in your pocket? You switched them, didn't you, when we voted? Well, I can't say that I care. I managed to get through the numbered door I wanted, despite your mischief.
Then, why did you...
Oh, simple curiosity. I hope you won't think ill of me for it.
Ace smiled, gave Junpei a friendly pat on the shoulder, and then turned on his heel and left. It was a small defeat, but it was a defeat. Junpei had lost the upper hand, and he knew it. He could feel his stomach begin to tense.
Damn.
Okay, well, we can actually do puzzle stuff now, I guess. So many drawers, nothing inside of them. A compass, broken. The helm, steering wheel. Yeah. I'll remember how to do all this shit in a moment. Because I wasn't done yet, dick. Actually, can I check the flowchart now and see if it's already, like, checked off the key? It has! Okay. I was about to ask if I could just skip to there. So, that entire conversation with Clover about the suspicions of who killed her brother, even though her brother's not actually dead. Okay. Yeah. The captain's quarters. Let's go. It's interesting finding all these story triggers, although at the same time it's kind of odd that it's just seeing certain events changing. Like, it's fascinating to me that just simple conversations that people have change the ending so very drastically. I find that very interesting. Okay, so I need to make sure I experienced 2 different story triggers that I could probably assume that that there'll be events like just dialogue, much like the others. A bed, there's nothing in it. Yeah, I get to figure that out again. Yeah. Press button. Good job.
Huh.
Junpei snorted with grim humor for the second time since he come into the room. The 4 screens along the bottom had a single letter each spelling out
Z-E-R-O, huh?
It's like he's making fun of us.
What do you think? Well, even if he wasn't one of us, there's no way that man could be Zero.
Huh?
Don't you get it? The letters that spell Zero on the TV screen, the captain's clothes he's got on, and of course, the bracelet with a 0 on it.
It's too obvious. Look, this is Zero right here. This dead body is Zero. Isn't that kind of fishy?
You're right. Only an idiot wouldn't see through something like that.
No, that's not the point. So I'm not trying to make fun of them for thinking a trick like this would work. I'm sure they didn't think it would work, which makes me wonder.
Why did they do it?
I think this is a challenge. A challenge from the person who's really behind all of this. He's making fun of us. Don't you get it?
If whoever killed this guy really wanted us to think this corpse was Zero, they'd never have put a bracelet on him. Walking around with a Zero bracelet would be like hanging a sign around your neck that said, "I did it!"
Hey, Al.
Anyone with a brain would be able to see that this guy is supposed to look like everything Zero is supposed to be.
Just like we did. The killer must have known we wouldn't think he was Zero and put the bracelet on him anyway. Do you know why?
Why?
Like I said, he's mocking us.
Too bad, suckers. This isn't Zero. Where's the real me then? See if you can catch me.
It's the same bad joke a lot of criminals like to play. They'll just sit back and watch people run in circles.
That's really twisted. But it almost seems kind of childish.
Yeah, you're right. It's really childish. It's like it's just a game to whoever this person is. That's what seems funny to me.
Junpei bent down next to the corpse.
All right, let's get back to the point. Who killed this man?
I don't know.
And what's this guy's deal? Who is he?
How would I know that? If I knew anything, I would have told you.
You have no idea who he is.
Why would I?
Junpei sat back on his haunches and thought.
We should check and see if he's got anything on him that might tell us who he is.
Give me a hand here, Clover.
Huh?
We gotta flip him over. How else are we gonna search his pockets?
Clover didn't move.
Okay, fine. Guess I'll do it.
Junpei had no choice but to move the body on his own.
Here we go.
He grabbed hold of an area not completely covered in blood and shoved. It took a moment, but eventually Junpei felt the man's bulk begin to shift. But just as it did,
Huh?
something fell from the man's left wrist.
Hey, it's the
bracelet with a 0 on the face.
Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from this ship. 2. More likely, which is 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confine of the ship, or detects that the wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically.
That's totally what it means, Jack. That's totally what it means.
Oh god.
Junpei stared at the bracelet.
This man. He's dead, isn't he?
No fucking shit, Junpei.
Huh?
No, it's just I guess I didn't really think about it until right now. If his bracelet's off, that means he's dead.
Or the fact that his eyes are completely glossed over, or the fact that there's blood all over him and a hole in him. You know, there's a lot of factors in this Junpei that would imply that he is in fact dead. But no, it took his watch coming off his fucking wrist for you to be sure. Wow.
Well, it's pretty obvious that he's dead. You don't really need to look at his bracelet to figure out that he's dead.
Yeah. I guess you're right. It is pretty obvious. Well, he looks a lot better than the other bodies we've seen, though. You know?
Yeah, this guy isn't exploded.
If there wasn't all this blood, he'd almost look like he was still alive.
I mean, by comparison, all dead people look comparatively alive. I mean, have you seen some of the bodies in this game? They're all over the walls and shit.
I mean, I know it's kind of a messed up thing to say, but he kind of has it better, you know? Dying from a bomb going off inside of you.
Well, you wouldn't really feel it.
Some of Snake's bones went right through his skin.
It's just a flesh wound.
I think the explosion must have thrown him against a wall or something. There was a broken bone just sticking out of his left arm. And,
Suddenly, Junpei realized what he was saying. How could he have been so cruel? He clapped his hands over his mouth. But it was already too late. He turned to look at Clover. She was glaring at him furiously.
What did you just say?
Her words sounded cold. He knew an apology could hardly atone for what he'd done, but he tried anyway.
Oh man, I am so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I really don't know what I was thinking. I mean...
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
The left arm.
What did you say about his arm?
Arm?
Yes, his left arm. You said it, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did, but I mean, didn't you see it too?
Of course not. I could barely look at him. There's no way I was gonna see the details.
Clover took a quick, deep breath.
Are you sure it was his left arm?
100%. Junpei thought back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
And he had a broken bone, right?
What the hell are you getting at here?
Just shut up and answer me!
She shoved her face closer to his. He could see the fire in her eyes. Junpei winced and swallowed.
Yeah, he did. It was pretty bad, too. The bone was sticking out of the arm.
No sooner were the words out of his mouth than Clover's expression changed.
Clover? What's wrong? Look, I'm sorry if I said anything.
Suddenly, she was crying. Junpei wasn't sure what to do.
Thank you.
It was close to the last thing he had expected to hear.
Huh? What are you...
Junpei had no idea what the fuck was going on. We do in the other innings, though. He didn't think he'd done anything worthy of thanks, and he couldn't understand why she would have chosen that moment to begin crying. So he simply stood there, confused.
Thank you so much, Junpei.
She thanked him again, and then something even stranger happened. Aww. Fuck. Isn't this the music that played when we found her dead body in the other ending? That makes this feel really awkward.
Hey, what's going on with you?
I'm guessing this would be called Clover's theme.
I'm sorry, it's just. I'm so happy!
Why?
Yeah,
The
why?
body in the shower room. It isn't his! It isn't my brother!
Huh?
It's not Snake!
Snake's left arm is prosthetic. So the dead body in there that was Snake, it's not Snake because it had a bone coming out of the left arm. Prosthetic wouldn't have a bone.
Why on earth would you think that?
Well, of course it doesn't look like Junpei. This isn't Persona.
Because his left arm is.
She stopped herself.
Sorry. I really shouldn't be talking about this.
Junpei decided it would be prudent not to press her for any more information. If she did not wish to tell him, she certainly had a reason for doing so. Perhaps more importantly, however, if Clover was so certain, and she was likely right. That meant that the body in the shower room wasn't Snake. It wasn't much, but that knowledge lifted some of the weight from Junpei's heart.
He's still alive. I'm so happy.
Okay, and no more axe ending. Awesome. Tears shone in her eyes. Those tears melted Junpei's heart. For a moment, he forgot all about June. As she cried, she had pushed herself up against his chest like a child. That just made it creepy. Junpei put his arms around her and held tight.
I'm so glad. Junpei, you were right. No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
Clover reached into her pocket and pulled something out.
That's...
It was a laminated bookmark with a 4-leaf clover.
I only made it here because you gave me this. I was suspicious of everybody, and I was angry and miserable. But because I had this 4-leaf clover, because of what you said to me,
Yeah.
Junpei hadn't thought his words would have had such an effect on her. Her words were making him feel a little awkward.
Thank you so much, Junpei.
She looked up at him. He scratched his nose and pretended to notice something interesting somewhere else in the room.
Oh, if you really want to thank somebody, you should be thanking Santa.
Santa? Why?
Well, he was the one who gave me that thing. And the words for each leaf, I got that from him too.
Oh.
Then suddenly, Clover broke away from Junpei.
Huh?
He looked confused. He hadn't thought she'd react that poorly. Clover began to pace around the room. I want Starbucks. I know what's coming. It's because of the words that I had said to her, and she thought that I would know about the experiment. But since I got those words from Santa, now that she knows that Santa knew those words, she's suspecting something else. 6 steps to the left, 6 to the right, another 6 to the left, and then she stopped.
Did
6, 6,
Santa
6.
really tell you those things?
Yes, Clover. Yes, he did. Her eyes were serious, but not angry.
Yeah, he did. Did I say something wrong?
18 steps. Digital root is 9. Shit!
Oh no, not at all. In fact, this could be really good news, I think.
You think?
Santa knew about the words and the clover. The only people who should know about that are the other subjects.
Subjects?
The other people who were in the experiment 9 years ago, with my brother and me. But he's blind, and I was part of the Nevada test group. So neither of us would be able to recognize the faces of the people who were on this boat.
Whoa. Okay, time out.
Junpei held up his hands and was very confused. Jacob was also confused at the knowledge of the Nevada test group. He took a deep breath and let it out.
Let's just calm down for a second, okay? Start from the top. Don't start with the end and then jump to the middle. You gotta start with 1 and then move to 2 and 3 and 4 and so on.
And then 9. 9. 9.
If you don't tell me stuff in the right order, I'm never gonna be able to figure it out.
Okay.
Clover nodded.
All right, let's start with this experiment. What happened on this boat 9 years ago?
Do you know about morphogenetic fields?
Morphogenetic fields.
He did, and the realization sent chills down his spine.
All right, how about this? Theory of the telepathic mechanism.
I think Lotus mentioned something like that.
Junpei recounted what Lotus had told him earlier. Clover nodded.
Telepathy, huh? Well, that's not really it, but I suppose it's similar.
So they were testing telepathy on this ship?
Yeah, I guess so.
So, what exactly did they have you guys do?
The same thing that we're doing now. Exactly the same thing.
What?
The nonary game. 9 people were put on this boat, and 9 others were put in the building in Nevada, and the game started.
Junpei grabbed the sides of his head.
Look, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. What do the nonary game and some telepathy experiment have to do with each other? Am I missing something here?
Clover bit her lip. She blinked back sudden tears. What had happened to her in Nevada?
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. You know how sometimes when you're up against a really tough problem, and then the answer just kind of pops in your head? That's an epiphany. And what you learn from the epiphany can be transmitted with telepathy. When you add danger to that equation, then it gets easier to transmit that information over telepathy.
So you're saying the nonary game was supposed to introduce that element of danger?
Yeah, but it couldn't be just any old danger. It had to be life and death. And someone did actually die. A girl.
Huh.
Junpei felt the sudden grip of despair on his heart. Something deep and distant and powerful squeezed, and for a moment he felt very, very empty and alone.
She was on the boat with my brother. I was in Nevada. I never met her, but I did hear her name. Her name was...
Say it! No! No, Ace! No, you motherfucker!
Oh, my apologies. I seem to have disturbed you.
Go to the incinerator room, you dick!
Ace!
You two must have strong stomachs. I can't imagine how you could stay in this room for so long.
Ace glanced down at the floor. At the corpse, covered in blood.
At any rate, Junpei, would you be so kind as to come and help me with something? I'm having a little trouble, and I could really use your assistance.
Hey, Hollow. If you don't know anything about this game, everything that's gonna be happening is gonna be like massive spoilers. We're really, really far in the game.
Come on, it'll only take a moment.
With that, he turned and walked back toward the communications office. Clover waited until he was out of sight, and then spoke in a quiet voice.
I don't want Ace to hear us. We can talk about this later.
Huh? Hey, wait!
Clover ignored him. From outside, Junpei could hear Ace calling.
Junpei, what are you doing in there? Hurry up!
Grumbling to himself, Junpei stomped off toward the communications office. Damn. Hi, Chad. Did I miss a key? Okay. Ha 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 ha, Blibber, ha ha. Don't worry, it'll go back now. I had this problem before trying to click the damn thing. There. Seems like it's, I don't think it's the same one as last time. Maybe it's random. Methinks this is gonna be significant. A red file lay in the drawer. Junpei reached down and picked it up.
Looks like there's something on the cover. A-L-L-I-C-E. All ice. Alice. Does this mean?
Junpei couldn't hold back. He had to know what was in that file. Each page was covered with strange characters. They looked like tiny drawings of birds, snakes, insects, horned animals, wings, and even kneeling humans. There were many pages in the file, and each was full of these strange symbols.
What the hell is this?
He didn't realize he'd spoken out loud until Ace looked over at him.
They are hieroglyphs, a form of writing used in ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt?
That's right.
Can you read them?
Of course. I can't. What would make you think I could?
What the hell?
Junpei flipped through a few more pages. It wasn't just one or two that were covered in the strange symbols. Every single page.
Whoa, the whole thing's like that.
Trying to read them was pointless. Junpei wasn't going to waste any more time with them. He made to close the file. Something fell out.
Huh? What's this?
He bent down and picked it up.
Oh, a key card.
Bottom deck library. Ooh. We've already.
So it would seem.
Bottom deck library.
Now it's new stuff.
Oh.
Junpei remembered something he'd heard from Seven when they'd been in the chemical closet.
Seven said something like.
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic.
Could beneath the navel mean the bottom deck? And the Forest of Knowledge is the library?
Yeah.
Then could Alice be in a room somewhere beyond the library?
I was right.
What's wrong? Something on your mind?
Junpei blinked. Only then did he notice Ace looking at him, curiosity and concern written across his face in equal parts.
Yeah. I just remembered something.
Don't tell this asshole.
Is that so? What about?
Well, don't laugh, okay?
There was no reason for Junpei to hide his thoughts. I love that line. There was no reason for Junpei to hide his thoughts. That's a middle finger to all of us. He began to explain his theory to Ace. Then he stopped. It wouldn't make any sense if Ace didn't know who Alice was supposed to be. So he told Ace everything June had told him. God damn it.
The Egyptian priestess and Ice 9. Interesting.
And the woman who wouldn't melt, who was recovered from the Titanic disaster? They called her All Ice, which eventually turned into Alice. And she was purchased by an English millionaire who called himself Lord Gordain. According to Seven, this ship is where he hid Alice.
And you think that he hid her in a small room, beyond the library on the bottom deck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is just a theory.
Ace stared off into the distance, his hand slowly and absent-mindedly stroking his beard. After a few moments, his hand stopped. He turned slowly to look at Junpei, and his brows drew together.
Junpei, have you ever heard of the term Cass?
Cass?
I mean, yeah.
It stands for Cells Alive System.
Not that.
It is an advanced technology for freezing and preserving organic matter. Put simply, it is a technique that allows one to freeze things without the formation of ice crystals. Normally, if you freeze something fresh, water within its cells expands as it crystallizes, damaging the cell membrane.
Yeah.
CAS, however, works differently. The object to be frozen is super cooled using magnetic fields, and then frozen instantly and uniformly, giving ice crystals no time to form. It was originally developed for the preservation of food, as an alternative to the normal freezing process. Now, however, there are rumors that it can be used for other things.
What do you mean, other things?
Cryogenic freezing?
Well, there are obvious medical uses, but perhaps also space travel.
Space travel? Are you serious?
Surely you've heard of suspended animation. Cryogenic freezing? It's a fairly common idea in science fiction books and films.
Yep.
People are sometimes frozen for especially lengthy journeys through space.
That was when Junpei understood what Ace was suggesting.
Whoa, wait a minute there.
Ace looked at him and raised an eyebrow.
Are you saying that Alice was frozen using that CAS thing?
Well, I'm sure the possibility is quite low, but it is a possibility. If this special ice you call Ice 9 does indeed exist, and CAS were used to freeze her into that sort of ice instantaneously.
You think she could be alive?
Well, I can't say for sure, of course. I'm only talking about possibilities. The melting point for Ice 9 is 96 degrees, right? If she were put somewhere where she could reach that temperature...
That's nuts. Are you really saying she could have defrosted and started walking about?
You're quite right. It does sound unbelievable. But if she had, then we would have an explanation for the man we found dead on the floor.
You mean the guy dressed like a captain?
Yes. He was dead when we found him. Clearly, he was murdered. But if he was murdered, then by whom? It couldn't have been one of us. That would be impossible. In order to enter the captain's quarters, one must first open door 1. That door that requires the Earth key prevented us from accessing door 1. Who was it that opened that door?
Santa and Lotus.
Right. Clearly, the two of them could not have opened door 1, or any other door for that matter. Who else then could have done so?
Junpei thought for a second.
Nobody. After Santa and Lotus used the Earth key, they turned back and met up with me and June. Then we returned to the large hospital room and found Ace, Seven, and Clover. While we'd gone into the shower room, Ace, Seven, and Clover had stayed behind. But it's impossible for those three to open door 1. But what about when June and I took the elevator to door 2? No, still won't work. We were only gone 5 minutes. No human being could have run to the captain's quarters, killed that guy in there, and run back that fast.
It would be impossible for any of us to be the murderer.
Wow, Tractor, you're absolutely right. I know, I feel dumb for not noticing it before, but you're absolutely right.
That being the case, who could have killed him? Wouldn't it make sense if his killer was someone who had been in the ship for some time? A person like that would know the ship well. They would know the locations of all the hidden passages and secret doors. The numbered door would mean nothing to someone like that. It would be a simple thing for them to enter the captain's quarters.
Then you're saying the killer was Alice?
It was Junpei's turn to raise an eyebrow. Ace drew his thumb across his lips thoughtfully.
Well, this is all only one possible theory.
All ice. Alice. Is she really somewhere on the ship?
Junpei had only one clue. The key card in his hand.
Maybe this card will give me access to the Forest of Knowledge. And the big mystery. What could be there beyond the Forest of Knowledge? Anyway, whatever. It's gonna have to wait. I can't do anything right now. I'll come back to this later.
He gripped the key card tighter and shoved it deep into his pocket. And that's it. And that's unlocked now. So we could just jump to novel here, right? And now I have to ask, is there something? Like, is it? Oh man. I feel like I could jump. Outside the room. They stepped out in front of the captain's quarters into another hallway. Can't wait till it switches back. Or rather, switches to new information. It's close now. It's close.
A note. Here
we go. I'm guessing the difference in this one is that she grabbed, she probably grabbed the bracelet or something, but she didn't, she probably didn't grab the axe. So from here on out, everything is new information, or at least should be.
A note?
Yeah, I found it in the pocket of the guy with the captain's clothes. It said something about the darkness of the sinister hand or something.
So that's where she got the note in the safe ending.
What the hell? Let me see it.
No, not right.
But Junpei wasn't going to get to see it. From the other end of the hall, he heard Ace's voice.
Junpei, Clover, what are you two doing? Hurry up!
He's getting mad.
That's true. It's true. And the fact that she's not like on a murderous rampage because Snake is alive is, yeah. But still, you know. Clover shrugged.
I'll show it to you later, all right?
Okay.
Come on, we gotta hurry.
Before Junpei could protest, she was gone. Around the corner and off down the long stem of the L. A note? A note. Junpei was curious, but there was something else that bothered
From the
him.
look of that pocket, it doesn't particularly look like just a note.
She probably grabbed the bracelet as well.
Jeez, what are you thinking? For crying out loud.
Junpei did his best to convince himself that it would make sense later and ran off after Clover. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. The fact that, you know, we were able to add it all up to where we knew that Snake wasn't dead in time, then she's not. Yeah. Junpei pushed through the door and found himself in a large room with a set of stairs. I'm also... Yeah, okay, yeah. It'll converge back shortly, I'm sure. Oh, already. They reached B deck at the same time.
Jumpy! Clover!
June's face was excited. Something had happened. That much Junpei could tell by simply looking at her. Given their situation, he was not inclined to be excited about sudden developments. June, however, couldn't contain herself.
We found it!
Found what?
We found it!
What did you find?
The last door! We found door 9!
What?
Come on! Just follow us! We'll explain on the way!
Okay.
Seven turned and jogged off down the stairs.
Well, if that's the case...
Wait for me.
We should get going as well.
Jumpy! We finally made it!
Yeah. The relief and excitement in her voice echoed what each of them felt.
Yeah, it's finally time.
I just love the triplets, dude. Junpei wasn't quite ready to believe they'd really done it, at least not just yet. Still, if everyone said that it was door 9, it probably was.
Reached the end.
He could feel his heart racing. A mixture of anticipation and fear ran through his veins, and he could feel his legs shaking. He was doing his best to maintain his sense of healthy skepticism, but he couldn't deny that the prospect of escape was an exciting one.
Something's bothering me. Only 3 to 5 people can go through the numbered door. 7 of us are on our way to door 9. That means that, best case scenario, there will be 2 of us who have to stay behind.
But...
2 people. Is there a way?
Yeah, there is. Junpei looked over at the clock.
4:30. We've only got 90 minutes left. I've got no time to wonder about it now.
Hey, Junpei! June! What the hell are you two doing? Hurry it up!
Santa's voice jolted Junpei out of his reverie.
Let's go, Jumpy!
Yeah.
I just love the songs that play all the time. Like, they're all so good. They were in an elevator. They look familiar. Yeah.
I know I told you I'd explain it earlier, but honestly, there ain't much to explain. After we split off from you guys, the four of us got into the elevator on the left, and that took us to the other side of the grate. After that, we headed down another hallway. It took us toward the bow, and eventually to the number 6 that you two found earlier. We opened it and kept going. There was another locked door behind it, like usual, but this time we had to complete 2 different areas before we could unlock it. Once we were through that door, there was another hallway that went the other direction, toward the stern.
So, on your way, you found the elevator.
That's right.
So, in other words, you kinda did a lap, huh? You came from that side to this side.
Yeah.
With that settled, Junpei looked around.
So, where's the number 9 door?
Over here. Follow me.
It kind of is the Titanic. Junpei and the others broke into a jog to keep up with him.
By the way,
Yeah, but we know Snake's not dead though, Tractor, so it's fine. He's like over here. They've been walking for a while, June in silent step with Junpei when she spoke.
you know, it's because of Santa that we're all here right now.
Huh?
That all 7 of us are going to door 9.
What?
You don't get it? Santa, 7, and Lotus, what's their digital route?
9. It's 9.
That's right. They could have just left me behind and kept going if they'd wanted to.
Well, that's true.
But they didn't.
Yes, because Santa wouldn't let them. He said, we can't leave June and the others behind. That's why we went looking for you guys.
And then you got on the elevator and went back to the central staircase.
That's right.
Well, I wouldn't have called that one. That Santa would be the one to stick up for you. I mean,
Junpei felt his eyebrows knit as he considered that.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Perhaps June had sensed Junpei's concern.
I don't mean that 7 and Lotus said they wanted to leave me behind. We were just talking about it, and Santa objected to it first.
is that so?
Junpei was about to respond when 7 suddenly stopped.
We're here.
In front of them stood a door.
So, is this...
Yeah.
Junpei couldn't see 7's face, but he could see him nod.
There's no other place for us to go.
Nope. Just look around. There's a big old iron wall at the end of the hallway. The other hallways on the left and right are blocked by metal grates.
I see.
It looked as though 7 was right. The door in front of them was their only choice.
All right, let's get moving.
He pulled open the door and walked in. Junpei took a deep breath and followed. It appeared they'd been telling the truth.
No way.
The first thing Junpei saw as he entered the room was the number 9. Like all the others, it was a rough thing made of red paint. The door it decorated sat on the back wall of a rectangular room. Junpei ran up to it.
The 9 door.
It was a large double door with powerful styling. Something about it was almost majestic, and it made the red paint look especially garnish.
We're finally
Or
here.
garish, not garnish. Jesus. Actually, don't think I've ever seen that word before, interestingly enough. Yeah, garnish. Mmm. It didn't budge, but then he hadn't really expected it to. Red was bolted. It displayed red
No doubt
vacant.
about it. This is door 9.
Parsley, just sprinkle some parsley over the door. It'll be fine.
Oh, finally. This is the last.
Junpei felt a flood of emotion wash over him. He felt a chill down his back, and his chest tightened even as his blood began to boil. There was a moment of complete silence.
Junpei, look behind you.
He turned around.
What?
Junpei could scarcely believe what he saw.
A door and a 9. There's another one?
Yep.
Hey, what the hell? What the hell is going on here?
His words came slowly, and his brain struggled to understand what he'd seen. On shaky legs, he made his way to the second 9. It was a small door set parallel to the door they'd come through, but in the other corner of the room. There was no mistaking the number, and if any more proof is needed, a ray was bolted to the wall near
There's
the door.
a red there too. That means
And of course it won't open.
He grabbed the handle and shook the door, not because he expected to open, but because he had to make sure it was real.
Why?
Yeah.
How the hell are there 2 doors?
It's a good question. It was Ace who spoke first.
Do you think perhaps one is the right door and the other is the wrong one?
Lotus was skeptical.
I don't know about that. It seems unlikely.
What makes you say so?
Well, think about all the rooms we've been through so far. They're full of puzzles, but there are always hints about how to solve them. I'm pretty sure there aren't any rooms where we just had to go with our best guess and leave it to instinct to solve the puzzle. Do you really think that at the very end of the game, Zero's going to suddenly throw in something that depends entirely on luck?
Then you're saying there's some sort of hint in this room?
No, I don't think there's a hint anywhere in here. I searched it very well when I was in here before. I didn't find anything that might have been a hint, though.
Well,
Whoops. That means
Both of these are the right door. I mean, if you think about it, Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it.
It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Junpei began to mutter to
So
himself.
there are 2 number 9 doors. If we split it up right,
That's not gonna work.
Junpei blinked and looked up at Clover. She held out her
You've got a
hand.
notebook and a pen, right? Can I borrow them?
yeah, here.
Slightly confused, he pulled them out and handed them to her.
Look at this.
Clover opened the notebook to a blank page and set it down on the desk. Everyone else gathered around her and watched as she wrote down a series of numbers.
You get it?
It's always 16.
The numbers on the top are all the combinations with digital roots of 9. The numbers on the bottom are the people who don't fit. There's only 8 possibilities if we split up into 2 groups of 3 or 4 people. So...
If 3 people go through the door, then 4 are left behind. If 4 go through, then 3 are left behind. Right?
yeah.
But if you add snakes 2 to any of those, then it works. Clover nodded, almost as she were pleased with herself for solving a difficult math problem.
No way.
The room went very quiet. What was up with that, like... Hang on. Oh, okay. Nope, never mind. Silence lay across everyone like a thick, heavy blanket. No one spoke. Their faces were blank.
Come to think of it,
Desperate for something else to look at, Junpei turned his eyes to the room around him.
what is this room?
The walls were covered with candles. The wavering flame made the shadows of Junpei and his companions look as though they were dancing. 2 rows of wooden pews filled most of the room.
It looks like it's set up for some kind of ceremony. But what kind?
Between them was a strip of rich red carpet. The carpet ran straight through the room, ending at the door that pointed to the stern of the boat. At the other end of the carpet,
Is that an altar?
it was a recessed space set into the wall between the 2 other doors. Sitting on a raised section of the altar was a coffin. A coffin. Oh, but no, we know what's in that coffin.
No, it couldn't possibly be.
But if it wasn't, then whose body occupied it? That was as far as Junpei wanted to pursue that line of thought. He decided not to think about the coffin for the time being. That was a mistake. At that moment, Seven spoke. There was an edge of humor to his voice, but it was forced.
Okay, I give up. I give up. I figured if we sat around here long enough, someone would volunteer. I guess nobody's got the guts to do it.
What are you talking about?
Junpei didn't understand, and he wasn't the only one.
What? You guys didn't figure it out yet? Fine, let me enlighten you. Clover was mostly right with her little explanation earlier, but she missed something. She wasn't really wrong, she just... screw it! Let me just write it out.
Seven snatched up the notebook and began to write in it. Everyone else clustered around him, desperate for a look.
If you're trying to leave with a group of 3 and a group of 4 and get everybody out, Clover's right. But there's another way. Only one combination, though. If you split us up into groups of 3, 3, and 1, you can make this combination.
I'm not leaving without him.
Wait, this means...
I'm not leaving without him.
Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to copy Ace or anything like that. Even if he hadn't been the hero back in the big hospital room, I'd still be saying the same thing.
The same thing? Are you saying?
Yeah, I am. I'll stay behind.
Why are you acting so heroic all of a sudden? Are you some kind of idiot?
Lotus was the first to speak. That in itself was a little strange. She'd reacted much differently when Ace had volunteered.
No, I'm completely against this. I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna have to owe you for getting out of here.
The rest of them began to speak, all at once.
I'm against it too. I didn't want to leave Ace behind, and I don't want to leave you either.
I don't like that idea. There's gotta be other options.
I disagree as well. I can't say I care much for you being the hero.
Finally, they quieted down. Junpei looked at Seven.
Well, there you go, Seven. Proposal denied. Clover's right. There's gotta be a better way than this.
Seven made some noise that was somewhere between a derisive snort and a cough.
Doesn't make any sense.
He was doing his best to pretend they were making a foolish decision, but Junpei could see the twinkling of water at the corners of his eyes. That was when Santa spoke.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet.
Until then, Junpei hadn't realized that Santa had stayed quiet for the whole discussion of Seven's fate. Something in his voice made Junpei uncomfortable.
Are you agreeing? You want to leave him here?
Santa shook his head.
Nah, I'm against it. I don't want to leave Seven here alone.
Then I don't see how it matters.
I said alone.
Huh?
I said I don't want to leave Seven alone.
I heard you, asshole! Get to the point! There was a dull shine in his eyes. They were cold and hard. Junpei felt himself shiver.
What the hell are you?
What? You don't get it? I can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including Seven. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No, those are my orders.
What do you mean, orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's gonna listen to you?
You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice.
What?
3, 2, 1.
Santa was so fast, Junpei could barely see him. When he moved, it was almost like watching a dance. His feet moving like lightning. He spun and... I'm gonna feed him his balls.
See? I told you.
His lips curled into a cruel, mocking smile.
Huh? What?
A shudder traveled the length of Junpei's spine. His chest froze and he could feel his breath go stale in his lungs. Nothing made sense. Junpei felt as though his head were about to explode. Santa's sudden change in attitude, saying that he needed 2 more. The gun in his right hand, a revolver. Santa had grabbed June from behind and pressed what Junpei's shaken brain identified as a revolver, roughly against her temple.
Why? What the hell is that?
Where on earth had Santa possibly found a gun? Junpei's questions roared in his mind, but his mouth refused to ask them. Seven spoke, almost as though he had sensed Junpei's confusion.
The gun's from the other room.
What room?
One of the rooms behind door 6. I should have known he was gonna do this. I should have taken the gun.
Well, it's too late now, fat ass.
Damn.
Damn it.
A mixture of fury and frustration twisted Seven's face, and he glared at Santa. Santa, for his part, didn't so much as flinch. The corner of his lip twitched into a slightly wider smile. Then the smile faded, and he began to move. He walked backward, dragging June with him. Before long, his back was resting against the door. On the wall next to him was the red. He put his hand on the scanner panel quickly and then forced June to do the same.
Now, time for you to start following my orders. Ace, Lotus, congratulations! I've chosen you to come with me. Put your hands in the red.
That was what Santa meant when he said he needed 2 more.
Hey, you deaf? I gave you an order.
Santa's eyes narrowed to slits. He glared at Ace and Lotus. They stayed frozen like deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming car.
Right, fine. I didn't want to waste any bullets, but you guys just don't get it.
No sooner were the words out of Santa's mouth than his hand twitched. A section of the floor exploded, scattering wooden splinters across the floor. Thanks for the mini heart attack, asshole. A thin plume of smoke snaked out of the hole in the floor. There could be no doubt the gun was real and worked.
He really shot it?
It was a warning shot.
Why? Santa, why are you...
Clover's voice spoke of betrayal and disbelief.
Santa, I thought you were one of us. I thought we were friends.
What?
You knew about the leaf words and the 4-leaf clover.
Santa's cheek twitched, almost imperceptibly.
What the hell is that shit? I've got no idea.
You're lying.
Shut up. Just shut up, you stupid bitch. You want me to put a bullet in your fucking head?
Flecks of spit flew from Santa's mouth, his face twisted with rage. Clover recoiled, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice was very small.
Santa.
He snorted, then shook his head vigorously and turned to face Ace and Lotus.
All right, assholes. What are you still standing there for? Get over here and scan those bracelets. I don't have all day. Oh, what's the matter? Your hearing's starting to go? Going senile, maybe?
Ace and Lotus still didn't move. It almost seemed as if they couldn't move. June's face was pale behind Santa's arm. Her eyes were wild and her chest heaved with every quick breath, like an animal cornered by a predator. Junpei's mind worked furiously. What were they gonna do? Then he realized something. There was nothing they needed to do. There was nothing to debate.
That's it.
June's safety was the first priority. That much was obvious. Doing as Santa commanded meant that she would be safe from at least 2 threats. She wouldn't be shot, and she would leave the ship alive, along with Santa, Ace, and Lotus. There was only one thing for Junpei to do.
It's the only way.
He turned to Ace and Lotus.
Please, go.
Huh?
No way.
Jumpy, what are you saying? If you stay here, you're going to be stuck, Jumpy. And so will Clover and Seven.
I know, but you don't need to worry about us. We'll figure something out. Right, Seven?
Right. You just leave it to us. It's gonna piss me off to do what Santa says, but...
Don't worry about me either. There's still something I have to take care of.
Yeah, and actually I've already worked out what's gonna happen.
No, you can't! Ace, Lotus, don't come over! Don't worry about me, please!
June was almost crying. Junpei walked around behind Ace and Lotus. He gently placed a hand on each of their shoulders.
Please.
And pushed them toward the door. They almost stumbled, then righted themselves and took another step. And another. They turned around and Junpei nodded.
all right.
Fine.
Ace and Lotus turned around again and walked slowly toward the door where Santa was waiting for them. After what seemed like an eternity, they stopped in front of the door marked 9. Santa smiled.
All right, now let's get those hands on the scanner panel. What's the holdup? What? You think I'm fucking around here? I don't give a shit about this girl. The red doesn't need a person, you know? All I need is the bracelet. You get it? Good. Now put your fucking hands on the scanner. I'm not gonna say it again.
He shoved the revolver harder against June's head, and she winced.
Fine.
Lotus went next. Lotus glared at Santa and slammed her hand onto the scanner panel. The fourth asterisk blinked on.
Good job. Now, Lotus, pull that lever. As soon as the door opens, you get your ass in there. Try anything stupid, and you know what happens, right?
Damn it.
Junpei could almost hear Lotus's teeth grind. The door slid open. Door number 9 opened at last. It opened with a low, powerful rumble, a drum roll to welcome the chosen few.
Good. Go.
Lotus and Ace walked through the door, their eyes furious but defeated. Santa waited until they were all the way inside, and then hauled himself and June across the threshold as well.
Later.
After exactly 9 seconds, the door swung shut. The gust of air it created caused the candles on the altar to flicker and die. The room fell silent. Junpei, Clover, and Seven had been left behind. Which is 7 plus 5 plus 4, which is 16. Which is conveniently 2 away. 2. 2, as in snake. Gee, I hope we can find Snake. Clover looked down at her hand, traced with her finger the faint blue veins that crisscrossed them. Seven shoved his arms into the front of his overalls and scratched his stomach. No one spoke. Silence made the air feel thick and oppressive. Desperate for something, anything to occupy his mind, Junpei walked to the larger of the 2 9 doors. He stood in front of it and looked at the red. It read engaged. He moved to the smaller door. The red read vacant. The digital route of the remaining people was 7. There was no possible way for them to open a door with a 9 on it. Junpei touched the surface of the door.
June.
He thought about June, about Akane Kurashiki. Was she safe? That was all that mattered to him. If she was alive, if she had escaped this horrible boat, that was what Junpei prayed for. 7 came up next to him. He pulled off his hat, scratched his head, and sighed.
So, what do you want to do, Junpei?
I was thinking maybe we could order pizza, maybe play some Monopoly, you know.
What do you mean,
good.
what do I want to do? What can we do?
7 opened his mouth to respond when a noise echoed throughout the room. Someone was pounding on something vigorously. It wasn't mechanical. It was certainly human. Junpei and 7 looked at one another.
What the hell is that?
Wild travel.
Shh, quiet.
Clover motioned to 7 to be quiet. She put one finger to her lips and closed her eyes in concentration. The 3 of them listened, trying to determine where the sound was coming from.
Where's it coming from? Could it be?
Hey, I think it's coming from this coffin.
You're right.
Let's open it.
But how?
What are those muscles for? For show?
You're telling me to force it open?
Just shut up and try!
Junpei and 7 grabbed hold of the coffin, and I think I get it now. I think everything falls into place with this. And by that I mean that getting the safe ending gave us that yellow looking key. Hold on, let me just see if I can show you. Hey look, a coffin. That yellow key there. I was told that you need to have seen this ending in order to do the ending that we're going for now, and I think I know why. Because we would only have the code to this coffin if we had seen that other ending. So if I had to guess, we're not going to be able to open this coffin unless we have those numbers.
Damn it!
Which I don't have anymore.
It won't even budge.
That's bad. Actually, I might. I don't think I do. Let me see if I saved him. See if I was smart and saved him. I mean, I may not need him, but still. Its purpose would not have been difficult to determine. Their eyes were almost immediately drawn to it.
Another one?
Yeah, looks like it.
Do you think we have to put in the right password or it won't open?
Nope, didn't save it.
I think so.
The noise wasn't stopping. In fact, it was getting louder.
Whoever or whatever's inside this thing wants out. And now.
I know that. But how?
Without a passcode, I don't think there's much we can do.
They couldn't even tell how many numbers the passcode needed to be.
Isn't there a hint somewhere?
Well, let's look for one.
Yeah, open it up and it just starts the zombie apocalypse. I'm okay with this. Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be anything near the coffin. Clover ran to examine the pews, and Seven investigated the desk, but they turned up nothing. Yeah, we found the code last time. It's not in this room. It's way somewhere else.
There's nothing here.
Not making this easy, are they?
The sound still wouldn't stop. It wasn't a noise that belonged in that room.
What's the passcode? What am I supposed to do? How can we figure it out? I need something.
The world blinked. Suddenly, there was a voice inside of Junpei's head. Truth had gone, truth had gone, and truth had gone. Now Truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand.
Wait, what? What the hell was that? That voice?
Junpei was utterly and completely baffled.
Huh? What?
What's up?
Seven and Clover ran over to him, but Junpei didn't know what to tell them.
Huh?
If he'd told them he'd heard a voice, they'd laugh, or worse, think he was going insane. So all he said was,
"Oh, nothing."
He cleared his throat a little too loud and looked pointedly down at his bracelet. There were a pair of small buttons protruding from either side of it. He pressed the buttons. That was it. 1438 3421. That's fucking nutty, dude.
One 4 3 8 3 4 2 1.
Oh my god. So, for those of you that weren't here last time and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm not even sure I'm right in saying what's going on. But the Junpei from the other ending that we did just telepathically sent the answer to this Junpei.
Huh?
Hey, what the hell were those numbers?
Oh my gosh, are those?
Junpei didn't answer. He simply walked straight to the coffin. He knelt down in front of the keypad, running over the numbers in his head so that he wouldn't forget.
1 4 3.
Yeah, I know the numbers. I know the numbers. Shut up. With trembling fingers, he punched them in. Well, you don't actually have to remember it. The game does it for you. You just have to remember what the truth has gone puzzle. You just have to remember how that works. That was all of them. He punched the E button. There was a moment of complete silence. Then there was the sound of the coffin lid unlatching. Someone sat up out of it.
No way.
What?
Why are you?
Oh?
Is that you, Clover? I apologize for worrying you.
Oh, this is already so much better.
Snake!
You? Why?
Junpei? And 7? Is that you?
Just like Rip Van Winkle. Still, it was very much like Snake to simply cut to the heart of the matter and ask.
Oh.
Jeez.
Junpei and 7 shared a wry smile. Clover's eyes were filled with tears.
You're back!
With a cry of joy, she leapt into Snake's arms. Aww.
Gently now.
God, I don't like it. Stop playing that music when she does a happy thing, because the first time I heard it, and it was when she was dead, and I don't like it. It bothers me.
My body's still a little weak.
Oh, you're back!
Well, Captain and man number 9, but yeah, fuck him. Oh yeah, and Guy X. Yeah, whatever. Clover looked like nothing so much as a lost child who had finally found her home. She cried and cried and cried. Her eyes were red and her nose was running. She hiccuped and gasped as she were about to hyperventilate.
You're back! You're really here!
Her voice was happy, but almost desperate, as if she feared he would disappear again if she stopped talking to him. Tear after tremendous tear rolled its way down her face. Her small arm strained as she clutched Snake's body as tightly as she could. Perhaps she had to convince herself he was real. Perhaps she was worried he would be gone the moment she let go. Perhaps she simply didn't know what else to do.
You're back!
Come now, what's gotten into you? You're acting as though I've returned from the grave.
Not as though! You did! I really thought you were dead!
Huh?
You jerk! Idiot! Idiot! Idiot!
Clever broke into sobs so great she could no longer talk. It was a touching reunion between brother and sister. Even though Junpei knew they had little time, and every minute they waited was a minute they wasted, it felt cruel to pull them apart. Junpei and 7 sat down on one of the pews, waiting for Clover to calm down before explaining to Snake what had transpired.
I see. I believe I understand things rather well now. Thank you.
Stop. Ah! Ah! Holy shit sticks! Huh? What? What a thing! Oh my god! I was like, we're gonna finish this today again. No, we're fucking not. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends, Jack. Can I get through that in 3 hours? Because if it'll take 3 hours to get through that, we do need to stop here. Because there's no way I can because it'd be too late for. Oh my god. Jeez.
In the shower room, there is a dead body wearing my clothes.
Yeah. Okay, so, like, how do I... I want it to trigger the next square.
Because of that, you thought that I was dead, correct?
He quickly and neatly summarized the events of several hours.
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
You also discovered a corpse in the captain's quarters, and Santa turned on you here, in this room. Do I have it straight?
Well, the dead body in the captain's quarters is a surprise.
Sorry, there wasn't a good time to tell you.
Really? It's just a hard... Really? Okay, cool. Well, that's perfect then. Hell yeah. Well... Holy shit, I was not expecting it to just grow a giant dick of plot, but hey. Well, I didn't need to use the save feature. I was too busy playing the game, so. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Well then. I've got a pretty decent idea of what happened while I was indisposed, but it's still something of a mystery who did all this, and why. The corpse in the shower room that looked like me, and the corpse in the captain's quarters. Why were they killed in the way they were?
You don't know?
No. Why would I?
The guy in the shower room. We don't know who he is, so let's just call him Mr. X. Anyway, this Mr. X is wearing Snake's clothes. But you're wearing some kind of weird robes. That means someone took your clothes and put them on Mr. X. We need to figure out who that was.
I apologize, but I have no idea who might have done this to me. I only just now woke up. I was unconscious during all the events you just described to me. They must have undressed me and changed my clothes during that time.
When were you knocked out?
When we split up to look for the red.
Where did they get you? Do you remember?
It was a small room in one of the hallways on C deck.
What happened?
The same thing that happened to every one of us when we were abducted. A canister releasing some sort of gas was thrown into the room. I believe the gas is some sort of incapacitating agent.
Then that means it was...
Zero.
Looks that way, huh?
There's nothing else I have to tell you. When I woke up, I was in this coffin.
Junpei crossed his arms and thought.
Why? Why did Zero make Mr. X wear Snake's clothes? How would that benefit Zero? I don't get it. What the hell does any of it mean? And I have no idea how I got the passcode for the coffin either. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Where did those words come from? Why did I feel compelled to push the buttons on the bracelet after hearing them?
Seven had asked about it while they waited for Clover to finish crying. He had no answer for him then, and he still didn't.
All I know is my fingers moved on their own. It was like I did it subconsciously. I don't get it. What the hell does any of it mean?
His mind was a maelstrom of mysteries, clues, theories, and more mysteries. He could barely think.
Also, Snake and Clover had been subjects in a similar experiment 9 years ago.
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. And someone did actually die. A girl. Her name was...
There had been another experiment conducted on this same ship 9 years ago, and a girl had died during it. Morphogenetic field theory. The two murders. Switching clothes. The notary game.
And whatever strange thing was happening to Junpei himself. The maelstrom in his head spat out words and ideas that disappeared back into it as almost as soon as he grasped them. Oh, God. But as he struggled through them, Junpei began to realize something. There was something that tied all of them together. And the point connecting the dots?
Zero. He's the ringleader. The person who trapped 9 of us on this sinking ship. Zero should know everything. If we can uncover Zero's identity, all of our questions will be answered.
Who was Zero? Junpei had the beginnings of a theory. If he could only test it. Or perhaps...
At any rate, we'll have plenty of time to decipher the details later. For now, it is of utmost importance that we escape. Junpei, it was 4:30 the last time you checked the clock, yes?
Correct.
That means we have less than an hour. We must hurry.
Hey, how are we gonna get out of here?
Isn't that obvious? Through the other number 9 door.
Yeah, we can get through now.
Oh yeah, you're right. With Snake, we can open the door.
Don't tell me you hadn't figured that out.
As they sniped back and forth, Junpei glanced at Snake's left hand. He was wearing a bracelet with a 2 on it.
Come on, you gotta tell me these things.
I, assumed you'd figured it out.
Forget it. Let's just get going.
Seven stomped off toward the smaller number 9 door, which is the one that led to the incinerator, I believe. Seven quickly laid his hand on the red. An asterisk appeared on the screen. Junpei and the others followed suit and laid their hands on the scanner panel. Soon there were 4 asterisks.
All right. You guys ready to go?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Junpei paused for a moment.
Not yet.
Huh?
Before we go in, I'd like to check something.
You want to check something?
Yeah, but before I do, Seven, could you pull the lever? I want to make sure we can verify with just the 4 of us.
What do you mean? We don't need...
Just do it, all right? But if the door opens, don't go in yet, okay? Please, this is really important. I really need to check this, okay? Work with me here.
Junpei looked directly into Seven's eyes. The older man looked back for a moment, then nodded.
9.
Seven pulled down on the lever, and door number 9 creaked open, and they waited. After 9 seconds, it closed.
All right, that means the 4 of us can go into door 9.
Yeah, duh.
So, we knew that already. It's obvious.
Obvious. Yeah, you're right. It is. Now, what happens if we add Zero's bracelet?
What?
Zero's bracelet?
Why don't you take it out, Clover?
For a moment, Clover looked surprised, but she recovered quickly and stuck her tongue out at Junpei.
So you did know I had it.
Yeah.
I picked it up because I thought it might be useful sometime.
She reached into one of the pockets of her voluminous jacket and produced a bracelet. Junpei took it from her and turned to Seven.
This was on the left hand of the corpse in the captain's quarters. If you look at it, you can see it's got a 0 on the face. Just to make this a little easier to talk about, I'm gonna call the guy we found dead in the captain's quarters, Cap. Then I should be able to open door 9 with just me, Clover, and his bracelet.
Okay.
The big question is, if Cap is the mastermind of this game, would he really put one of these bracelets on?
Dude, I want Chinese.
Let's just give it a shot.
Give me some of that.
Give me your hand.
Okay.
Now the captain's bracelet. And pull the lever.
However, the door didn't open. The reds display red error.
I knew it. Now, what does this tell us?
Maybe the bracelet has to be on your wrist in order for it to work?
No.
No, that's impossible. Did you see how the panel showed a 3rd asterisk when I scanned Cap's bracelet? Whether or not it's on your wrist doesn't matter. All you have to do is put the bracelet near the panel for it to register.
Seven waved his bracelet in front of the scanner panel.
Huh. Looks like you're right.
See? So what does that mean? There's only one possibility.
That bracelet isn't the number 0.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Then what number is it?
Let's find out.
Scan the bracelets with this combination. I'm pretty sure it's 6, so we'd want let's see. We'd want it plus 13. So let's see. Junpei and 7 would be 12, and Snake would be 14. That's not right. Snake and Clover would be 6, and 7 is 13. So no, that's wait, Clover's Clover's 4, Snake's 2, so that's 6, and 7's 13. Unless, yeah, math is fun. Math is fun. I need 5 and 7.
Let's try 7, me, and Cap. If this combination opens the door...
Cap's a 6. It's almost like I knew it was a 6 because of that other ending.
Hey, it opened! The door opened!
What? Why? What does that mean?
Both 7 and Clover seemed rather shaken. As they turned to look at Junpei for answers, the door slid heavily shut. Junpei raised an eyebrow.
Isn't it obvious? Cap's bracelet is number 6.
But doesn't it say 0?
This isn't a 0. The symbol on here isn't a number 0. It's a letter O.
Oh.
What?
Whoa, wait a minute. I don't get it. I mean, we figured out that Cap's bracelet is 6, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean there are 2 people with 6s?
Before Junpei could answer, Snake spoke up.
There is most likely only one person with a 6.
But I don't get it. What about June?
Well, this is only an educated guess, but I think June's number was never 6 to begin with. Her bracelet was flipped.
What?
In other words, June's real number is
9.
That seems the most likely.
Then all this numbered door stuff was just a load of crap?
Why would you say that?
Because if June is 9, then the numbers wouldn't match up.
Exactly. Clover grabbed Junpei's notebook and began to write furiously in
Here,
it.
look.
It literally doesn't work out, though. Junpei leaned over to look at it.
List of all the numbered doors June's gone through.
I'll let you know what I'm writing, okay, Snake?
Yeah?
And that's everything. I wrote down which door she went into and with whom. And I wrote what all the numbers were. So if you switch 9 in wherever there's a 6, the numbers don't work. If the digital root is 7, then you can't open door 4. If the digital root is 2, then you can't open door 8.
Clover, do you notice anything interesting on that list?
What do you mean?
You're talking about 3, right?
I was gonna say they all have 3, yeah.
3?
And they all have 8.
Santa's always in the room with her. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
What about it?
That's quite simple, really. You told me that the first time you came to this room, Santa was the first to refuse to leave June behind. Now, doesn't that beg the question why? Why would Santa do such a thing? The answer is easy. Because Santa can't open door 9 with only 7 and Lotus. Of course, there's only one reason for that. His number isn't actually 3. Santa's real number, 7? Would you be so kind as to modify my sister's equations?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god.
This is what you were getting at, right, Snake?
He's 0.
Thank you. That is exactly right, 7. Santa's true number wasn't 3. It was 0.
No way. Santa is 0?
And June was 9, not 6. Conversely, Santa was 0, not 3. Plus 3 and minus 3, they cancel one another out. Nothing appears out of order.
Santa was still playing by the rules of the nonary game this whole time.
Precisely.
So you're saying Santa planned this whole thing?
I'm not sure if he acted alone or not, but I think it is safe to conclude that he is 0. If my hypothesis is correct.
Clover bit her lip. She seemed to be having some difficulty believing her brother's explanation. Junpei. Junpei remained silent and thought.
Snake's hypothesis. Something doesn't seem right. June's bracelet being flipped. Even if that were possible, that would mean there are 2 number 9 bracelets. And if that's the case...
All right, that's enough talking. Let's go. It's high time we went through that door.
They leapt through.
Oh, it's right there.
The dead was directly in front of them as they came through the door. Quickly they scanned. and the detonator stopped. After pausing for a moment to catch their collective breath, Junpei and his companions headed down the long hallway in front of them.
All right, let's keep going.
At the end was a set of stairs leading down into the ship.
These stairs go to the bottom deck.
They leaned out and looked over the side.
try.
Let's head down.
After deciding it was safe, they headed down the stairs. Before long, Junpei and his companions found themselves on the bottom deck. Jacob is now curious as to whether it's moved on to the next segment of the flowchart. It still hasn't. They turned left and into another hallway, at the end of which they found another door. It looked like a short harpoon what we used to hunt fish, the kind with 3 prongs. Doth thou be Neptune? Snake traced the shape with his fingers.
This is the Neptune symbol. There must be a key around here somewhere.
Neptune key. I only have the Uranus key card.
Clearly, it wasn't going to open this door.
It's a different planet. Plus, it's the wrong kind of key.
Let's turn around and go back for now.
Yeah.
After examining the door for a few more minutes, they gave up and headed back the way they'd come.
Hey, another door.
With a little more searching, they found a metal door.
And a card reader this time.
Oh. Symbol was engraved.
It's the Uranus symbol.
Perfect.
This is the place.
Perfect. He slid the card through the reader. It beeped once. Junpei, Clover, Snake, and Seven looked at one another, nodded, and stepped through. Well, Snake didn't look. He just assumed. The room they found themselves in was full of books. Hello, library.
Wow. It's totally full of books.
There's so many. I don't know where to look.
It looked remarkably like a library. Not the sort of library where large numbers of people came to read books, more the sort of library that was simply a place to store books. He felt a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of books, but Junpei did his best to speak with authority.
All right, if we want to get through that door out there, we need the Neptune key. I say we split up and look for it.
Okay.
Very well.
Sure thing.
Good. Let's get started then. We don't have a lot of time. Hurry.
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge. As he began his search for reasons he didn't fully understand, Junpei felt those particular words float through his mind. Did you fucking adventure on me? Got eyeballs again. Did you go all adventure mode on me, asshole? Now we'll stop. Perfect. To confirm though. Yep. All right. So that's where we'll stop. Ha! Cliffhangers. Suck.